Welcome back, Slam Pigs podcast, making the rounds into 2021, second episode of the new season, new year, whatever you want to call it. This time, a little different. Mike, unfortunately, was supposed to be here today. He's a little under the weather, but just like in 2016, just like in 2017, 2018, our backup plan, our man with the plan, our go-to guy, Logan Myers, has come down the aisle. Dude, thank you so much for filling in on such short notice. Really appreciate it. First and foremost, Happy New Year. How you been, and where can everyone catch you?
Well, I'm glad to be here, Travis. It's always a treat when I can replace Mike and actually bring some relevance to the show.
Oh, God, here we go.
Nah. Happy New Year, everybody. And Travis, thank you for messaging me and seeing if I could fill in for the old man Michael. I hope he's feeling better. Hope he gets to feeling better quick. And anybody that wants to check me out on YouTube, Future TV, and on Twitter, at Logan Myers 144.
There you go. Get over there. Future Wrestling on YouTube. Check him out. Follow him on Twitter. And yeah, Michael, we hope you're on the mend. We hope you get better. You know it's bad when Michael doesn't want to talk. Because he can fucking talk.
Oh, he can. Yeah. If you want somebody that talks, yep, that's Michael.
As always on Twitter, still follow me at the HibickyTMD. That red button right down below. Hit it. Subscribe for all the goodness. 90% of the shows are coming back. Be patient. We're knocking out a bunch of Hibiki high spots this week. Glad you guys enjoyed the Reign of Terror episode with Mellow Dottie. Look for part 2 of that because the Reign of Terror is just too much to wrap up in one ep. And this week, my good buddy, Matthias Thrasher, has finally debuted on the channel, talking Bobby Heenan on Hibiki High Spots. Look for that. And last but not least, catch me and the boys and ladies every Monday on Broken Optics Twitch, the Monday night Melee, playing fighting games, Fortnite. If it's a co-op game, we're going to play it. But Logan, we're talking off air. You and I don't really watch. I mean, who the fuck watches Raw 3 hours straight anymore, to be honest?
I did the past Monday. I kind of regret that.
I'm sure you do, because I can't fucking do it. At least with Raw. You know, like, SmackDown has been... It's not perfect, but it's like... We were just talking about the Reign of Terror the other day with Mello and that era and Triple H in 03. And it feels like then, because in that era, Logan, it felt like Raw at the time was shit. It was like Vince's little playground and Triple H's little play with Scott Steiner and Test and Maven, your favorite, and all this... And on SmackDown... On SmackDown, you had the SmackDown 6 tearing it up. Benoit, Eddie, Edge, Mysterio, Angle, Brock. It was hard to believe those two were the same company. And 18 years later, here we find ourselves. I feel like, Logan, it's kind of the exact same thing for me.
To me, yeah. Yep, you have Roman on SmackDown. You got Daniel Bryan when he can show up. I mean, yeah, you're right.
And I think the biggest elephant in the room to happen this week with WWE, everybody's melting down because Billy Goldberg is back, and he came out on, quote, Legends Night, and they use that term loosely, for fuck's sake, at this stage of the game. Alicia Fox, legend, Logan.
Well, if that's a legend, then I'm a fucking legend in WWE.
If that's a legend, then I'm the COO of fucking AEW.
Yeah, we're legends of commentary in WWE for Hibiki Pro and FOW.
But no, the biggest elephant in the room, everybody melting down, losing their mind. It's going to be Goldberg and Drew at the Rumble for the title. Yes, I get it, guys. I fucking hate it. It sucks. It's an obvious. It's always to please shareholders. Well, I can't say the sweet Saudi money anymore because they're not going to Saudi Arabia anytime soon. This is just dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs. But when do they get the notion that nobody wants to pay these dollars to see it? Because I don't. You don't. And what gets me about the IWC, they say they hate it, but when they do this, they can't shut the fuck up about it. They blow up social media about it. They end up watching it because subconsciously WWE spun it to when now they're invested, whether they want to or not, to see Drew beat Goldberg. So they're going to tune in either way. WWE says, gotcha, bitch. And it happens every time Goldberg comes back at this point.
Yep. And what got me was on Monday night was the whole fact that none of it made sense. And I mean none.
No.
Like, if you're gonna have to cut Drew McIntyre's promo, just cut the whole thing and just have him come out next week. I
Yeah,
mean, if that's what you're gonna do, or just cut it all together. But I think that's the same take Mike would say.
yeah, sounds about right. Another big one for me too is like, well, why can't it just be Sheamus and Drew for the title at Mania? Now, I had to take this in for a second. We've reached a point. We have reached the lowest point of Raw where people are actually clamoring and hoping to see Sheamus in a world title match at WrestleMania. Sheamus, Logan.
I much rather would have. Yeah, please just give me Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre again.
Here, here's my early Rumble predict. This is what I would do. I'm copying it from someone I saw on Twitter. I don't remember who posted it, so if it's you, good thinking, but I'm going to steal it from you. They said Keith Lee, Logan, should win the Royal Rumble with the help of the Hurt Business, therefore turning Keith Lee heel. The Hurt Business, led by Keith Lee, going into Mania to take that title from Drew. Not the worst idea, because what the fuck are they doing with
Wow.
Keith Lee?
Is he somebody's somebody is more intelligent and creative than the whole fucking Raw creative.
I've never seen Keith Lee in any indie as a heel. Maybe I'm missing something. I've never seen what he's capable of. But I feel like as good as he is on the mic as a babyface, most of the more times than not, those guys are still capable of being a great heel. And I feel like he's got it in him.
That's how I felt about Drew McIntyre when he was a heel. I was like, if he's this good, can you imagine him as a face? And let's be honest, Drew McIntyre, and these awful times, he's done fantastic.
He was my on our 2020 year-end awards last episode. Drew McIntyre is my superstar of the year. You got a guy, and Michaels was Roman Reigns, and that's my number 2. I mean, my God, what a turnaround for him. But you look at a guy, Logan, like Drew McIntyre, from 3MB to Progress and shit can to the Indies. Totally had to go find and reinvent himself, which he did. Came back, NXT champion, then main roster, sucked it up for about a year and a half in a nowhere bullshit tag team with Ziggler. I was there when he wrestled Roman at Mania, and nobody gave a shit about that match. So if you put those two together now like they did at Survivor Series, it was hype, and it was fire, and it was a hell of a match. It's amazing what a difference a couple years can make. Drew McIntyre, people say, oh, they're going to bury Drew. They're going to... He's a made man, in my book. He beat Brock clean at Mania, and that just doesn't happen unless your name is Goldberg. Who's got that on the resume? Roman Reigns, the other top guy. I think Drew's fine.
Seth Rollins also.
Seth Rollins. Also, I would say Seth Rollins is a made man. No matter how many shitty Dominic Mysterio storylines you put him in, at the end of the day, he's still Seth fucking Rollins.
Yeah.
Is it fair? Is it fair to say that Rollins, Roman, and Drew are approaching John Cena levels of no matter what you do, you can't really hurt him, or is it still you can still fuck all these guys up?
You can still fuck Seth Rollins up.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, Mysterio storyline. I just wanted to throw my top 3 of 2020, if that's okay.
Do it.
My number 1 would be Drew McIntyre. I'm going to shock you with number 2, and I'm actually going to say Keith Lee. And then my number 3 is Roman Reigns.
For me, I would say Keith Lee if he was still in NXT. And we all had high hopes when he beat Randy Orton at Payback. Like I popped, I'm sure you popped. The wrestling world was excited for that. But now it's a case of Vince has to figure out what he has here, or like, what's there to fucking figure out? Like, you know,
A lot, honestly. I mean, he's fucked up Aleister Black, a character that could
that was your guy.
Yeah, I mean, you see how I booked him in FOW. He was the dark legendary legend killer. I mean, type character. And
I'm still salty we never got a proper Aleister Black versus the Fiend feud. How great would that have been?
Oh, can you imagine just the entrances alone?
Now, never say never. You know, Shelton Benjamin's a champion in 2021. Who would have thought that? So anything's possible. But right now, I don't.
Yeah, and Cedric Alexander also, you can say, is a main champion on the main roster.
As someone who started out doing cruise control with me like 3 years ago, how happy are you for Cedric Alexander right now? Because I'm elated for him and Shelton Benjamin, to be honest.
I mean, Shelton Benjamin was brought in to be that enhancement talent, technically, to put over the young stars, and he's doing that. He was doing that beforehand, but
yeah.
But I would say for Cedric Alexander to come from where he came from that tournament, from the crowd saying, "Sign his ass," to now, yeah, it's come full circle, and I feel like, yeah, he may have been thinking a few months ago, I think I'm done, but can we just give the props where the props are due? And MVP has helped all their careers.
It's the tired, played out cliche thing, but it still holds true where people say WWE just signs guys for the sake of having them. They stock up their roster to the fullest potential so no other indie guys can have them. You know, indie feds, AEWs, whatever. That's not good, in my opinion, because you squander guys like Cedric Alexander, Akira Tozawa, and then the list goes on and on. Look at all the NXT UK talent that are just doing really nothing. I mean, they're on NXT UK, but that's their least hyped show out of all of them.
Out of all of them, yeah, that's fair to say. It's just what sucks is for guys like Cedric Alexander, and then you got guys like somebody who is so underrated in the cruiserweight division. I can't really say that anymore, but Drew Gulak. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
He's another guy.
Why did they stop?
Relegated to the main event, by the way.
They just stopped doing the he's a protege of Daniel Bryan thing, right? Like altogether.
Yeah, he's got new music and apparently a new look on main event. If anybody wants to check that shit show out.
I mean, we could just keep going down. It's not going to be a bitch fest. Here's something else I caught. This didn't even happen on Raw this week, but it's from one of the worst stables of the year, the leader, Retribution. God, what an awful. On paper, that should have worked. The execution has been beyond dog shit. But did you catch the Raw talk with Mustafa Ali this week?
I read something about it where it was kind of pushed into him being like a face again.
Yeah, he made the comments about how, you know, they all have to take a back seat when it's always Legends Night and the Goldbergs and the Hogans and all this. It came off very CM Punk pipe bombish. My question to you is Retribution salvageable, and is this the route to go? Like, be the voice of the voiceless again, of the IWC? Because he was literally in this work, it was a work shoot, guys, by the way. This work shoot promo, he was saying everything that 90% of wrestling Twitter thinks.
I don't think it can be fixed. I mean, let's take a look at when they tried to fix Nexus and putting CM Punk as the leader, and then, yeah, it just...
The core.
Or it's not going to work. As much as I would like for it to work, they just need to put all their characters back to where they were and what they was, because Dijakovic, I know, butchered that like hell right there.
No, you're close. Dijakovic.
Yeah, Dijakovic should be...
We'll just call him T-Bar.
No, I can't.
They call me T-Bar in middle school.
Well, your nickname's better than a regular ass name. Let's be honest. It shouldn't be a wrestling name. I mean, and what's Mia's name again?
I thought it was Shatter or something. Not Shatter. It was going to be Shatter. Then they shook it. Is her name just Retribution or something?
I can't remember, but it's
something
just
dumb.
God awful.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. You're putting stupid names on guys in a group when you want them to be relevant. That's not going to make them relevant. Changing their name. They should have just made them. These are NXT guys coming in, trying to make a name for themselves together. Mustafa Ali was perfect for the leader because he does do a good promo.
He really does. He's one of the most underrated promo guys in the business, I feel like. And you would know that more if you got a chance to fucking see it happen organically, even non-organically. I called a thing like 2 weeks ago where he was on commentary where Retribution was having a match. He was like, you know, talking shit about having Ricochet to join. He's really fucking good on that mic. Who knew?
No, I mean, we knew. Let's be honest. We knew Cruise Control and all them. We've said this for years.
No.
A lot of them cruiserweights, from the Cruiserweight Classic to 205 Live, they could put on a good promo, besides Cedric. But it seems like he's starting to learn, you know, from MVP and them.
What a learning tree to sit under, too, as far as promos. There's nobody, mentor for you than an MVP on the mic, because he's fantastic.
And Shelton in the ring, and then you got Lashley, who can't really talk.
Yeah. I just hope this Mustafa Ali thing, I think, honestly, it is. It's going to make them, I don't want to say full-on face, but like a tweener, like a Punk. I hope it just disbands Retribution and branches Ali on his own. He's too good for this Slipknot light bullshit, whatever they are. I don't like it. I wanted to like it. I think we all wanted to give it a chance, but you see what happens when you give chances sometimes. People let you down.
Yeah, that's yep.
As
I was gonna comment, but nope.
as far as other things that happened on Raw this week, I didn't watch a lot of the clips. I saw Charlotte. Is she a heel again?
I mean, the hell if I know. I mean, she first she slaps Lacey Evans for smooch smooch with her dad, and then she yells at Ric Flair like he's like, go back to your retirement home. Like, what's going on here?
For me, is this safe to say, and you don't have to agree, but I think it's safe to say for the rest of her career, Charlotte, for the amount of heat she gets on social media and just the way she works and carries herself, should always be a fucking heel till the end of time.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the end of her career and she wants to do exactly what her dad did, yeah, I would take the face run there. But other than that, no, heel.
Yeah.
Kind of like Roman. I'll be honest, I don't want him going back to face.
Let's go
As much
there.
as-
Let's go there because I haven't got a chance to talk to you on any shows about it. What a turnaround. How many hypocrites do we see on Twitter now that were asking for this guy's blood a year ago, and now it's like, he's my favorite guy, he's the tribal chief. We've been telling him to do this shit for years on all these shows, and it's not hard. None of this was ever hard. At least I guess they learned their lesson. They didn't carry it another 5 years like with Cena to the point where it was unbearable and you just gave up expecting him to turn heel. But they got it right, and I gotta say, Jey Uso has knocked it out of the park for me. The back and forth between Owens and Heyman was tremendous. I don't know, man. I'm really enjoying the big dog as the tribal chief.
Oh, me too. Me too. We've said this for years. I mean, when he first came out of NXT, we're like, we have a feeling this isn't the face. This is a heel. They
Yep.
didn't listen. They didn't want to listen to the fan base. I mean, the fans caught on quick. Through the holes, you're shoving it down our throats. Now in 2020 and 2021, we have the tribal chief, who is perfect. Perfect.
You could even go back to the Shield days, fire that up when the Shield were still heels. Roman had that X factor more than the other two, I feel like, because he was that silent killer. Barely said a word, and when he did speak, you listened because you knew it was important.
Exactly.
Less
And
is
that's less is more, and that's why I feel like that's what they're doing with Paul Heyman on the mic. They don't normally. I don't usually see Paul Heyman not talking for his guy, right?
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar lets him just do his thing. Roman Reigns is trying to make him scared every time he goes to talk or say anything. This could be a way of bringing Brock back as a face.
I know people are going to hate that idea. I don't hate that idea. I don't want Brock to win the Rumble, but I want Brock to get involved in Mania season.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Because for me, a Rumble needs to always go to an up-and-coming guy who's never gotten that world title. It always comes like Drew last year. How great was that Rumble? Because Drew never had a world title.
No, he didn't.
Not to mention that's been the best booked fucking Rumble in like the last 10 years.
It's been the best booked Mania in some time, and let's be honest, when it comes down to it, the only challenger I could see for Roman is a Daniel Bryan.
I could see that. There's a lot of things I could do with Roman. Right now, I think they should just steer the course. I don't think Owens, if they do it at the Rumble, I don't think Owens is beating Roman at all. I think Owens is just kind of a transitional guy. Sadly, because I love Kevin Owens, but not everybody can be the top guy. And I don't feel like that belt should come off Reigns this soon. If it's going to do it, it would only have to be at like a Mania or a SummerSlam, one of the big four.
And as much as people might say, well, you're going to say you don't want to see Goldberg, but The Rock's the only logical answer. If you were to do a legend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would be okay with Goldberg and Roman. I would be okay with Rock and Roman. Hell, I'd be okay with Hogan and Roman. If these old lions put these fucking young guys over, I'll accept no other scenario than that. Did we not learn from The Fiend and Goldberg? It does nothing Nothing for the younger guys. Unless you get a redemption story arc, and then like 3 months later he comes back and beats him. You got to deal with 3 months of bullshit from the fans, and possibly more people tuning out in an already lowest of all time ratings. Can they take that risk right now? Is the question.
I was actually going to throw another logical, smart storyline that they could do and keep
Tatanka.
the Rock. That's a good one because he looked fantastic on Monday. I'm not gonna lie, he looked good.
He
But
did.
the only thing I could say is, if you want Daniel Bryan to stay for the champion, have The Rock interfere, costing Roman the match to a younger guy or somebody who needs it.
Yeah. Agree. Let's move on to the ladies before we take a break here. And by the way, you guys voted on Twitter this week, so have no fear. Your topic is coming. But what do you think what's been going on with Sasha and her little run so far with that belt?
Uh, I'm not gonna lie, Bailey was okay. I was the biggest fan before. Don't comment on it. Come on now, Travis. Nobody wants to know that.
I wasn't either.
But Sasha Banks, yeah, she definitely needed the title to get back her prestige.
I'm not the biggest fan of either of those women in or outside of the ring. I think they're very petty, catty women outside of the ring, and they're very fake. My biggest criticisms with Bailey over the years, obviously, it's been her promos. My biggest criticism with Sasha Banks is her work rate. She's 90 pounds, and the elevator down move makes no fucking sense. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, I did not hate Bailey's run. I think she took it, she ran with it, and by the end of it, she was pretty damn good heel and pretty good on the mic. Gotta admit.
As a heel,
Yeah.
not as a face.
No.
Sasha Banks as a heel has been a good run, but I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, we could say that again for Charlotte. Like, yeah, we've seen her be face, we've seen her be heel, and maybe she should stay heel, but sometimes you just need that one person that can transition, like a KO, Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
who could just help out the division. And sadly, who else is there to put the title on besides Bailey and Sasha right now?
Well, I can think of a certain deranged little blonde princess.
Yes, true.
Who's my pick to win the Women's Royal Rumble?
I hope so.
Alexa Bliss, if anyone's under a cave. That's who we're referencing. Let's talk about her real quick. What a turnaround year this has been for her.
Wow, it's been amazing.
You talk about wasting somebody in a tag team for over a year. I never liked that team. It never made sense. The fact that Nikki Cross isn't the Nikki Cross we all fell in love with anymore makes me sad enough. But those two together, just, it was awful.
Can we almost say... Well, this is going to be a hard take, and I hope nobody hates me for it, but Nikki Cross is what Alexa Bliss is now, or should have been now.
Nikki Cross is what Abaddon in AEW should be.
Oh, yeah.
Abaddon is fucking awesome. It's one of the scariest, frightening things I've ever seen in pro wrestling, but the bell rings. You know?
No.
It's not good.
Nikki Cross is better in the ring, but character-wise, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what they do with Sasha going into the Rumble. How do you feel about Carmella, this character? Are you over it, or you think it's got legs?
It's got legs.
I do too.
Yeah. She's definitely got legs, but yeah.
If any women's division on this roster needs some more things flipped to it, or like she needs to be over on Raw, in my opinion.
Yeah, we could definitely use a heel over there. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't go that route as a face for her.
Mm.
But, I mean, I kind of understand what you're repackaging somebody that was a face. You can't bring them back as the same thing.
And nothing about this character screams face, either.
No, the Champagne storyline with that they did, the one SmackDown with Sasha, was actually perfect.
That was good.
That promo was great.
Mm-hmm. The snapping the fingers and all that shit. That is not a babyface character. Now,
Yeah,
we talk about the ladies on Raw and lack of heels. Now, I guess this does make Baszler and Nia Jax technically singles wrestlers again, Logan?
I hope. Well, I hope. Just, not Nia. But Baszler, yes. Please, for
It's
the love of God, do not give her that move that you were just talking about for Sasha Banks.
it's beyond time with Baszler to finally make her credible and give her a belt. Beyond.
She needs it more than ever now. She went from this dominant person in NXT to somebody that just got rolled up on Monday night to what's her face? Oh, I can't remember her name. What is it, Travis?
No clue. Didn't watch that match.
Oh, that's right. It was Brooke.
Here's an even sadder question. Who the fuck is the Raw Women's Champion right now, Logan?
Jesus, tomorrow.
Right? That's how memorable this division has been.
Oh man, as much as I wanna, this women's division, people want to shit all over AEW, but they're at least trying. They're at least trying.
I am cheating on air and looking up who the fuck the Raw Women's Champion is because I have no clue. Legit.
I'm gonna take a guess and say it's a little Japanese chick. And if somebody doesn't get that reference in the name, then sorry.
You meant Asuka?
Yeah, come on. I mean, if people didn't get that one, Travis, it's definitely Asuka.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's Asuka.
Okay. It's Asuka. There we go. We're going to say that. Baszler and Asuka at Mania. Shoot it in my veins. Give it to me.
It would come full circle. It would really.
Now, before we take a break, we're going to get on a serious note here. Did you catch the AEW tribute to Brody Lee episode?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic, classy as shit, and my God, what a sad, tragic tale. And it just goes to show how good of a guy this was. He's just beloved by everybody in every fucking company he's ever stepped through. 41 years old is way too young, man.
Yeah. And there's a couple things I want to mention, and I have a question for you, Travis. I'll ask the question after. But anybody who wants to bitch about what WWE did and didn't do, get your facts straight. Get them straight, man. Because they reportedly did want to give AEW the first chance to do what they had planned. They even contacted AEW and Tony Khan saying, hey, we want you guys, since he was with your company at the time, we want to give you your tribute before we do anything special. Yeah. Props to WWE.
Props. And a lot of people, douchebags on Twitter, they want to AEW versus WWE till the end of time. That's Civil War. Now shut the fuck up. People don't realize WWE has totally compensated the family of Brody Lee financially for this. So has AEW. So,
they all have.
I'm not the biggest fan of Tony Cuck, but I mean, class act, Tony Cuck, fine job. Not to make light of this, but
Tony Khan, I can't say it. Tony Cock. But Tony, you could definitely tell the tears, like he became a good friend to Brody.
Yeah. And
the question that I had, did you get to see the video of Marco and Little Brody in a promo battle?
Yeah, on Dark or something.
Wow.
Yeah. I also saw a clip at like Brody's funeral where Adam Cole was attending, and he let like little Brody do his dad's finisher to him and pin him like on the floor of the funeral home. I thought that was really cool.
That was amazing. It's just like, and the kid can cut a promo, by the way, and please book it in my veins. I want to see Little Brody Jr. versus Marco Stunt.
I thought you were gonna say Izzy versus Little Brody.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Brody Lee gone way too soon, man. Rest in peace, and see you down the road, man, someday in that big squared circle in the sky. Until then, Logan, I think it's time to take a little break ski. When we come back, you guys voted on Twitter. We put out a poll. It was actually a fucking tie. You guys couldn't make up your mind. So on this episode, we're doing one of your picks, and next week we're doing your other pick. This one, joined by Logan. When we come back, we're going to run down the very first year in the legendary run of a man known as Glenn Jacobs, who you may know well may well know better as Isaac Yankel. I mean Fake Diesel. I mean Kane. When we come back, Slam Pigs Podcast. Stick around. My name is Travis. We are back. Slam Pigs Podcast. I don't have a Kane voice changer in. We're back. Slam Pigs Podcast special guest co-host this week, Logan Myers. Welcome back.
Thank you again for having me. And this one I'm excited about. Third talking women's division again.
You sexist. We are back covering, put up a poll this week. The options were, what topic would you like us to talk about on the show this week? Your options were the Rock and Roll Express, Kane's first year in the WWF, Tony Atlas in ECW, and the Hart Foundation stable from 1997, which I thought was going to run away with it, but no, we've got a tie. We had almost 60 votes, neck and neck, 29% to 29%. Tony Atlas and ECW, Kane's first year winning. So this week we're giving you Kane. Next week, Tony A is coming down to Slam Pigs. But do you remember the first time you ever saw Kane, Logan?
Yes, I was like 8 years old and I was scared to death and had nightmares every night and hoping my little stuffed animals would save me.
No, you're talking OG Kane that we're covering, the first year Kane, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is still, in my opinion, the best he was ever booked was his first year. Because after this, they did a lot of silly shit. Then they tried to do some, like, when they took the mask off and they tried to make him, quote, psychotic, setting JR on fire, throwing Shane McMahon into shit, and just tombstoning Linda McMahon. It got too ridiculous for me.
Oh, yeah, I remember it. It was too ridiculous, like you said. Yeah.
Too ridiculous. Meanwhile, this Kane we're talking about his first year was shooting fucking lightning bolts out of his hands. But it's fine. It's wrestling. You use your imagination sometimes. Kane, Glenn Jacobs, after a shitty couple test run gimmicks, called up from OVW, brought in as the dentist, the evil dentist for Jerry Lawler, Isaac Yankem. Ugh, one of the worst gimmicks of all time, in my opinion, hands down.
Yes, it was. Let's be honest. That was one of the craziest times, and he did actually get to face his quote-unquote brother before he turned as Kane.
That is very true. Brought in as a promo initially. Paul Bearer had turned heel, and he was going at it in the summer of '97 with Undertaker during his feud with Shawn Michaels. I've got a big secret, dead man. That's an awful Paul Bearer. But the big secret revealed to be that Undertaker, Paul Bearer claims, burned down the funeral home and burned his brother alive and killed his parents. And that Kane was pissed and alive and here to seek vengeance on Undertaker. And boy, would he ever. At the legendary Hell in a Cell match, the first one ever with Shawn Michaels, Triple H. We all know how that ended, Logan.
Yes, and I remember this was like the very first time I ever seen somebody pull off a Hell in a Cell door or something like that, and that was when I was scared as hell.
No, me too. And there's times in wrestling where you can gimmick something like a table or a door, and it looks awful, and you can tell that it was gimmick. They did a fantastic job with this because you you would not know that that door was gimmicked. It looked like he literally ripped off the big Hercules Hernandez chain wrapped around it and everything.
Yeah, I remember it was. They also did a fantastic job with Mark when Mark Henry did it. I will say that, and maybe Braun, but seeing Kane and that gimmick doing it, that was probably one of the most frightening things. Because now, when I was young, my dad would probably rewatch this, and this was probably why I was scared to death. I always thought my door was gonna get knocked the fuck down or pulled off the hinges.
I didn't think that Kane, his first outfit, was all that scary looking. I thought it was kind of cool looking, but it didn't scare me. I was also like 13, 14. I wasn't 8. But it was a good look. It was totally, I feel like, if you're going to have a brother of The Undertaker, this is what he should look like. I mean, he was taller than The Undertaker, and to Kane's credit, he pulled off the same moveset and took it to another level. I mean, his tombstone was way more intense than he put a little snap on it, if you remember.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
And of course, this would go into Royal Rumble '98. It was Undertaker, Shawn Michaels for the last time for quite a few years. This is the match where Shawn Michaels actually hurt his back, where he'd have to take 4 years off, taking that backdrop to the outside onto the casket. End of the match, we thought there was some sort of union with Kane and Taker. Nope, swerve, bro. Kane beats the shit out of Taker, locks him in the casket, sets the casket on fire on the entrance ramp, giving him the two-finger salute. That's how they went off the air for the time. That was really well done and really shocking. Murder.
Murder, something you don't see at all anymore.
No. Does
Some
wrestling
of the
need
best-
more murder? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they do. I mean, something that's not Legends Night.
And they tried to do this with Orton and The Fiend like a week or two ago, where like he set The Fiend on fire in there, and then he set him on fire in the Inferno. I thought that was a great Inferno match, by the way. Maybe the best they've ever done. A lot of people can give me hate. I mean, that perception's reality, and it looked like you got your money's worth if you're buying an Inferno match, whereas every other Inferno match, we'll get to in a little bit, oh, his arm's on fire, or his legs on fire, his dick's on fire. But no, he literally, the Fiend is dead, apparently.
His cock's on fire.
His cock. But this will take us into No Way Out 98. The next, obviously the feud they were building up, Taker wasn't going anywhere. The money match was him and Taker at Mania 14. But before we got there, it's time. It's time. It's time for Vader to come out and have a match with Kane at No Way Out. This was the match where, and this was the era too, where Kane sold less than Brock Lesnar. Like he wasn't selling shit, and he wasn't supposed to. That was the character. This is the match where like he beat Vader by hitting him with a wrench or something, knocking him out.
Something like that, yeah. Like
Brutal.
And I was hoping it would be like a tombstone on Vader.
Yeah. Yeah. Say love you.
Wow.
This then, after this, would take us to that amazing Raw promo where The Undertaker made his return to one of the loudest ovations I've ever heard from a live TV crowd to this day. You know, the lightning bolt hits. There's Taker laying there. He sits up, cuts that amazing promo on Kane, and we're knee-deep in the shit. We're going Kane and Taker into WrestleMania 14. Out of all the matches these two guys have had, none of them have been technical masterpieces or Observer 5 fucking stars. Maybe if they happened in Japan, they would be. But
They wasn't supposed to be. Not with the gimmicks.
they weren't supposed to be. And the first one, to this day, I still say is the best match they ever had together.
That I will almost agree with you, unless it was the other WrestleMania when. Well, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, maybe we won't get there because this is Kane's only first year. So we can just. Are you talking about WrestleMania 20 when Taker came back as the Dead Man?
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I didn't like that match. I thought that it was so obvious who was going to win, and the pacing of that match, the crowd was kind of taken out of it because I think that match immediately followed Brock and Goldberg in the Garden, and that
yeah.
match exhausted the crowd from booing for 20 minutes.
I mean, I guess I'm talking like storyline wise and how it was done at the at Survivor Series. I'm guessing when
yeah,
faced McMahon.
yeah.
Yeah.
He came out with a truck and Kane buried him in that match with Vince.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it was like they were trying to actually get that same pop like they did back, way then.
The big evil character had run its course, and everybody by far was ready for the Dead Man to come back. Undertaker especially.
And Kane's the only character that can, to me, bring that character, and it would make sense.
Now, after the match of Mania 14, Taker would get the win after 3 tombstones. This was Kane's first ever loss. They're not done. Because the next month, Unforgiven, the very first, speaking of Inferno matches, Logan, Inferno match, Kane and The Undertaker. This is probably their second best match. I really like this match too. What did you think? Have you seen it? And if you could do anything different in the Inferno match, what would it have been?
I don't think there would be anything that I would change specifically. Not even the finish. I felt like it was definitely what it should have been, and it was Kane who caught on fire, and it kind to me that was like, all right, this should be the ending of the storyline because think about it, quote unquote. Paul Bearer said Undertaker killed his parents. He set his own brother on fire. There you go, end of story.
No. Well,
Another story.
But they were only beginning.
Jesus.
Who would have thought by the summer of 98, The Undertaker and Kane would be aligned? Undertaker turned heel. Kane, though, had to do one more stop before this and win himself his first ever world title before that. King of the Ring 98, First Blood match versus Steve Austin. Logan, remember this one?
I think I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times, actually.
Shocking at the time. Made total sense booking-wise. This obviously had followed the legendary Foley and Taker Hell in a Cell, same pay-per-view. If you've never seen that, I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. Go watch it. But the cell would still be hanging above the ring for Austin and Kane, and they, it'd be lowered and raised and lowered and raised, and you could see the Vince McMahon they showed had something to do with that. Here comes Undertaker at the finish of the match, going to hit Steve Austin with the chair. Kane, quote, ducks, nails Austin. Austin is covered in fucking blood. The ref doesn't see the interference. Bell rings. We've got a new WWF champion in 98, and at this time, because especially I was 14, and we all wanted Austin to get that belt so bad, he had it for 2 months, I was shocked.
And we don't get that anymore again.
Very rare.
Part of it is social media.
Exactly. Now, the reign lasted a day, because he dropped it the next night on Raw to Austin. But it still counts.
It still does count.
Yeah. From
One
there...
night.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying one night, could have pulled the trigger, and that could have been Kane's reign and Undertaker redeeming himself with the title.
I think it worked out perfectly. Usually I hate hotshot booking like that, but I feel like Austin's momentum was ungodly, unlike anything we'd ever seen since Hulkamania. It made total sense for Austin to beat Kane and made him look strong, get that win back. This way, Kane could still be strong. It's not like he lost to fucking Taka Michinoku. He lost to Steve Austin going into another program, which they would tease the Brothers of Destruction. Austin questioned, are you on my side or this side? Somehow Kane would end up winning the tag belts with Mankind at this time. Fully loaded 98, it's Taker and Austin versus Kane and Mankind. For this match, Taker no-showed the match storyline-wise until the very end of the match. Taker came out. And after Taker got the pin, walked off with 2 tag team title belts. Didn't even get Austin a belt. Storyline dissension right there, done beautifully.
That was Undertaker's first tag team title, right?
I believe so, yes.
And it was with Austin and not his own brother. That's the shocking part for me.
It was with Austin, all to lead into the build-up of the Highway to Hell, SummerSlam 98. Probably, it's got to be the biggest match of 98 as far as their promotion and money made at Madison Square Garden. Austin and Taker for the title. Taker wasn't fully heel yet, but man, he was almost right there. Austin got the win in this match, but also Kane had a little undercard part on this match, in a tag team title match. Technically, it was supposed to be him and Mankind because they'd won the belts back. Him and Mankind against the New Age Outlaws in a dumpster match. Kane no-showed the match, so it was a handicap match, the entire match, right? The Outlaws beat the shit out of Mick Foley at the time, which in retrospect was a mistake because DX was so popular. What this did, Mick Foley was building his way up to this underdog babyface. You felt sympathy for Mick Foley in this, literally, and the crowd turned on the Outlaws and was pulling for Mankind. They shoved him in the dumpster, closed the lid. The Outlaws win. The Outlaws make their way to the back. All of a sudden, Kane pops out of the dumpster. He was in all along, I guess, magically. Takes a sledgehammer. You don't see it, but just drives it in, like right on Mankind's face. And I swear to God, Jim Ross must have had 3 aneurysms on commentary during this.
Yeah. Yep. You could say Jim Ross probably did have 4, not 3, before.
At least it wasn't another Bell's palsy thing.
He had an aneurysm like Michael did when he saw the final votes on this whole entire poll. He didn't get what what he wanted.
I can hear it now. Tony Atlas? Really?
Yeah, it was, and not the Hitman in them. Come on.
But then, summer of '98, officially the Undertaker turns heel, aligns with Paul Bearer and Kane, known as the Brothers of Destruction, and they're going in the Breakdown '98 in a triple threat match, quote unquote, whereas technically it was a handicap match. The winner is the champion. I guarantee Austin won't be leaving with that belt. And he didn't. They pinned Austin in this match, but they pinned him at the same exact time. So Vince McMahon comes out, steals the belt, go off air with Vince, giving that infamous shot, giving the finger before he gets in the Vince finger. It's all weird and crooked. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And that's how they went off the air with that. The next night on Raw, Vince comes out, talks shit to both men. The Zamboni incident was this. The new coronation ceremony, the new champion. Classic stuff. If you've never seen it, stop right now. Come back and finish the episode by all means, but watch that. One of the best moments in Raw history with Austin going out there, interrupting the ceremony. And after this, Undertaker and Kane turned even more heel on a heel as they shattered the ankle of Vince McMahon with the steel steps.
It's crazy how we went from face Undertaker to heel Undertaker within like a snap of the fingers.
I don't think any other era has a time where guys were flipped back and forth like this, but it eventually it became overkill, but right in this period it was just working. It just worked.
It's not working in 2020, in 2021.
Well, I was cheered up talking about days gone by, and you got to remind me of how shitty Raw is in 2021.
Sorry. It's like Big Show being turned heel face like 1,000 times.
He's got to have the record.
He's definitely got to have the record.
Got to have the record. Kane is up there. I would say Kane's up there.
Kane's definitely up there. And that's why I brought that up, because I knew you were going to say something.
I'm going to say this. That's going to take us to Judgment Day 98. Kane versus The Undertaker for the vacant WWF World Heavyweight Championship with Austin as the referee. This was the shot with Vince McMahon setting up there with like his SWAT team guy, and the big boss man made his return. These are like the seeds of the corporation being planted right now. The stipulation was, if you don't count both of these men fairly, you're fired. So if Austin didn't do his job as a ref, he was shit-canned. Guess what Austin did? Didn't do his job as a ref. It was a DQ. He knocked out both men. No decision. On the spot at the end of this show, Vince McMahon fires Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is how hot the Attitude Era was, and this is how much they had people believe. I was in 8th grade at this time, right, Logan? I never forget it. Her name was Lisa Berger. Came to school in tears. Literal fucking tears. Like, what's the matter? Something? No, Steve Austin got fired. I'm just like, even at 14, I'm like, it's a fucking work, right? Like, that's how much people believed in this era. Austin McMahon.
Lisa Berger.
Doxed.
Yes.
You doxed Lisa. She doesn't even know this show exists. But yeah, that's just crazy. It's just crazy how it is in modern time. Like you said, with social media, all the magician's tricks are out of the bag. To this time, man, people believed shit.
Well, that's true. It's so crazy how storylines are always ruined from the very beginning. This is why I don't mind not having fans in attendance.
Yeah, I can see your point. This is also an example of long-term, even in the Attitude Era, long-term storytelling done right.
True.
So we all know what happened with the belt, the vacant belt Survivor Series. It's not really Kane affiliated, but The Rock would end up becoming the corporate champion, turning heel, doing the ring the bell thing, and screwing Mankind. And The Rock is now a heel, and Mankind's a face. And then we go to Armageddon 98. I'm not completely sure. Excuse me, I don't have notes. This is all off memory, which I'm pretty impressed in my memory so far. I don't know what he did at Rock Bottom 98. But I do know, in 99, Kane was in the corporation. They were doing this gimmick to where he was in the corporation, but all the guys in the corporation would make fun of him, so he's kind of like the big red retard, as they would say. Excuse me if that offends anyone.
That was made by Jerry the King Lawler, too.
Yeah. You remember the guys from the sanitarium would always come out and put Kane in the straitjacket and shit? Mm-hmm. This was that time.
Yep.
Yep. And then Kane we come full circle. We made it our first year of Kane into WrestleMania 15 in a match with DX, the leader of Triple H, who had just come back from an injury, the hottest goddamn stable in pro wrestling at the time. What do they do at the end of this match, Logan? What do? They turned Triple H heel. China and Triple H turned heel and beat the shit out of Kane, turning Kane face, I guess, and getting sympathy on Kane. At the time, I thought this was a fucking dumb decision. How could you break up DX? But I think it turned out pretty well for a guy named Jean-Paul Levesque, in retrospect.
Yes, it did. It really did. DX ran its course back in the day, and Kane ran its course as a heel. He needed something new, fresh, and we also got to see, a little bit of Kane and X-Pac as a tag team, didn't we?
We did, but that is unfortunately past our time because that comes later. But we could run that in. Yeah, they did. Do you remember when Kane? He always had that. He changed his color scheme, so he'd start wearing like how the black and the red were flipped when he teamed with X-Pac. I always thought that looked so cool. I also thought too, when he teamed with X-Pac, instead of black and red, they should have did like neon green and black for his colors. That would have been amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of have my thoughts on here on FOW now. Thank you.
You're welcome. All proceeds go to me for that idea. And the whole love triangle with Tori and DX and all that dumb shit. But that's for another time. But this was Kane's first year in the WWE. And I got to say, Glenn Jacobs, whether you like his politics or not now that he's a mayor or whatever, that's irrelevant. One of the nicest guys in the business, possibly could have been one of the most squandered potentials, giving him all. I mean, look at the guy. And you're giving him a fucking dentist? You're giving him Kevin Nash's old clothes? Like, what the fuck is that? Thankfully, somebody in there got their shit together, their head out of their ass, and a lot of people don't want to admit this. Vince Russo.
Yeah, Vince Russo pretty much helped make Kane. And every time somebody brings up Vince Russo, it's always something on a pole.
Yeah. It wasn't always bad with Vince Russo. You could just tell by the end how burnt out he was because he was just phoning in storylines and just I love Screaming Norman Smiley, but Screaming Norman Smiley, Pinata on a pole, fucking Oklahoma, Russo's best days, in my opinion, were 97, 98, late 97, 98, by far. By far.
Yeah, we won't go into detail on anything WCW.
Hey, maybe we'll do a High Spots episode one day, Logan. We can talk Vince Russo for the topic. Who knows whenever we come back.
We will. We will. That is something that the fans might want to see in the future.
Let me tell you, bro. I'm awful at it. Let me tell you how much I appreciate you filling in this week for episode 2 of our brand new season, Logan. So good to have you back on the channel, man. Thank you again for being a trooper. I know I gave you literally no notice on this with Michael being sick. Michael will be back in action next week, guys. Thank you once again for all you guys. We're blown away by the amount of votes and hope you got your money's worth on the first year of Kane. Before we get out of here, though, one more time, Logan Hollywood Hogan, my man, where can everyone catch you on your Twitter, your YouTube, and all that you do?
Thank you for having me again, Travis. It was good to bring some relevancy to the podcast. And again, I hope you get better. I will be sending you some of my Logies Hoagies to your house.
He will be listening to every word of this show, so be wary of what you're saying. He's going to hear it.
Well, good. I'm so glad I can come in here and fix this damn show for 2021. Damn it.
You trying to say I'm half-assed over here?
No.
All right.
Michael's side of things.
Okay. All right. Well, you got the half of the equation right then, I guess.
I had to set him on fire in a freaking... see, now he's got me... all right.
Real quick, in all seriousness, it is really great to have Michael back. He's been sorely missed. The outpouring of you guys since Michael's been back in the comments from the 2020 year-end awards. Michael's back. He ain't going anywhere unless he's sick like this. But whatever, you get Logan instead. So behind door number 2, you got Logie's Hoagies.
Or drunk, one of the two.
Or drunk. It happens. I still say some of his best material came out when he was drinking. So there you go.
I know. I got to witness a couple of those.
Enough reminiscing on nostalgia. Let's look forward to the future, my friend. Go ahead. Plug your shit.
Pun intended, by the way. And you guys can check me out on YouTube, Future TV, and then on Twitter at Logan Myers 144. And again, I still got this. I'm going to have to come back.
Oh, you bet your ass you're coming back, Vinny Rue. Because High Spots, Vince Russo now. I feel like it has to be done someday this year.
It has to be done.
Let's shoot for February. Season of Lovers, season of Russo.
Oh, Lord.
Get over there, Future of Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe. The greatest fantasy e-bet going today. Follow him on Twitter. Man, this guy's one of the godfathers of this channel. My man Logan's been here for years now, which is crazy. So good to have you back. Look forward to more special appearances in the future. Until next time, follow me on Twitter at @TheBigETND. That red button down below to subscribe. All the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast, Terry Bollea's bullshit, everything in between, and every Monday night on Broken Optics on Twitch. The Monday Night Melee. Playing some games. Until then, Slam Pigs Podcast. You want to do the oink? Sing song?
Well, I won't do the oink, but I will say you never know if it can throw me.
Oink!